For another session. It's our second session of the day. I'm just like, let's get these done. Because I have to get my work done for social work, so so I have to do that. But we got to get another round of this beautiful, beautiful topic, right? Let's see. Let me just put it in the Discord. Let me put the banner in the Discord in case. It's Discord. Anybody can come. All right. Let's. See. All right, we are going to start again with this wonderful thing. And then we're hopefully going to get into our movie soon. Maybe a game. There's a special game I have in store for you. So there's a couple games. We just got to get the stream stuff up. Okay.
To be Semitic. Who are the real Semites?
There isn't such thing as
me, bro. I'm a Semite, bro.
Right,
Am I a Semite? That is so funny. Is Julian a Semite?
One at a time. So,
but I want to tell you something so funny about this term. Do you know where the term Semite comes from, fam? This is going to blow your mind right now, what I'm going to teach you. Semite doesn't just come from anywhere. It comes from a book that he thinks is corrupted. It comes from the ancestries of Shem. Let's see, Semite and Shem. The term Semitic comes from Shem, one of the sons of Noah from, you guessed it, the Bible. In the 1700s, scientists used the biblical name Shem to name a family of languages spoken in the Middle East. I don't know if you could be Semitic, Junior, because you think the Bible is corrupted. So, is this a book of history? Is this a book of knowledge and wisdom? If it is, that's what you got.
I'm a Semite, and I give everyone in this chat an anti-Semitic pass. You can be
like, yo. Okay, I just have to.
Go ahead.
We have to go to the next one. This one, Big League Drew says, "What is the year?" They said, "What does it mean to be Semitic? Who are the real Semites?"
There isn't such thing as
me, bro. I'm a Semite, bro.
All right, just one at a time. So
I'm a Semite, and I give everyone in this chat an anti-Semitic pass. You can be anti-Semitic for the rest of your life. Use this as proof. I'm a Semite. Be anti-Semitic. This is like a black person giving you an N pass.
So here's the thing. This is actually a big misunderstanding that is often promoted by Arabs and pro-Arab people. There is no such thing as a Semitic person. Semitic people do not exist. Semitic people only exist in the broader context of people who happen to speak a Semitic language, which is Arabic, Hebrew, and other languages. Here is the funny thing. So they often say, "Oh, I'm Semitic, so there's nothing wrong with being anti-Semitic," or "I can't be anti-Semitic." The word anti-Semitic was coined by an anti-Semite, by an anti-Jewish German guy who specifically wanted to distinguish between hating Jewish religion and hating Jews for their own race. So he coined the term anti-Semitic to specifically point out we are not against the Jewish religion or Jews because of their religion, but specifically against this race of people. And he, to distinguish that, coined the term anti-Semitism. And he was actually for it, and he was proud to be anti-Semitic. So the word anti-Semitism within context is specifically supposed to be about a directed opposition and hate toward Jews. So now when an Arab comes and says, "Oh, I'm a Semite, so I can't be anti-Semitic," you're just playing dumb word games. The concept
hypothetically,
itself is about Jews.
I hate to do it, but we heard. I'm sorry to do this, but we got one from Junior, and then we got one from AP. I do just sort of keep moving. We got a lot of questions. Nabil says, since 1948, Israel murdered million Palestinians before October 7th and even before Hamas was established. Everyone forgot about all this, focusing on October 7th. Today, 9 million Palestinian refugees outside.
That's complete nonsense.
I don't think there's a number of a million at all, even historically. I think it's bloated. I think if you wanted to argue like tens of thousands, you might have a claim, but a million is a lot of people. And I think that people just make numbers, but they don't really know. There's been a lot of tragedy, historically speaking, though. There's not any doubt about that.
At worst, there were like over 100,000 people or something. At worst,
We're talking about Holocaust, right?
That were killed. So here's
You're
the
talking
thing.
about the Holocaust, right? Just wanted to make sure that you're talking about the Holocaust here. Go ahead.
So, dude,
I agree. The Holocaust, there was less than a couple 100,000.
throwing me off with these idiotic points here, but there is
That's if it happened, by the way.
no single serious historian actually argues that over a million Palestinians have been killed in this conflict.
Yeah, that's just not what's happened, and it's a tragedy. What's going on is a tragedy. That doesn't change that it's terrible, but we have to be honest with the facts. And it's actually the Gaza Ministry of Health that gives us this number. It's less than it appears to be less than 100,000, and it's tragic. It doesn't change anything about that. It's just we need to be honest, And then he goes into Holocaust denial by saying it's just 100,000. Wow. Whew.
No such thing ever happened. Yes, there was fighting going on before October 7th, and the fighting was almost always. In fact, actually always started by the Arab side and always resulted in their own loss. And they still continue to this day. And if you want to go into Holocaust denial, that just shows how brain dead and idiotic you are.
And that's if it happened, by the way.
This one from, do appreciate your question. Big League Drew says, was there a stand down on October 7th?
No.
Big League
Okay,
Drew.
on this point, I agree with Apostate Prophet. I'm not really fully convinced because when October 7th did happen, it was the day of Shabbat and the Jews rest that day. So
Yes.
This one from,
I concede.
Okay, I like that. We like when there's concessions and honesty. We appreciate honesty. Thank you.
Max M says, Junior, were your parents cousins? This one from,
Gosh, that's horrible.
No, they weren't cousins.
thank you for clarifying this.
Like
You could
bro,
ignore
what
them
are
if
these
you want,
retarded
but if you
questions, bro?
Soldier of Christ says, Junior, why does your Quran claim a title Messiah, which is a Jewish term? You see Allah is Zionist. This is level of your argument.
Dude, Zionist was a term created in the 1900s.
Dude, you don't get the argument. He's trolling your position by using...
That's correct. The AP makes the point. It's a trolling position. It's not. He's trying to mock Junior, and Junior is taking it literally instead of understanding that it's a kind of a creative dig at him.
this argument here.
Zionism was a term created by an atheist person.
You still don't get it. Well,
Like, how could God be a Zionist?
you still don't get it.
God agrees with an atheist person. That's what you're trying to
I
say.
think they're trying to like satirize or basically use reductio ad absurdum. They're saying like according to your logic. So
what logic, man?
they're saying,
Look,
why does the Quran?
God literally says in the Quran, God says in the Quran, "O Jews, if you are chosen, then wish death upon yourselves. Because if you are upon the truth, then you would want to meet God right now, right?"
All right, so Muslims, if you claim to follow the,
I think we need to fact check these points. Every time I hear something bizarre, I'm like, let's just go see what this actually says, you know? So you said, okay, this is what it says here. The claim makes up specific rhetorical language from the Quran. The idea of wishing death upon yourself, Surah Al-Jumu'ah tells the Prophet to say to those who are Jewish, if you acclaim to be Allah's chosen people out of all humanity, then wish for death if what you say is true. The verse does not instruct anyone to wish death upon themselves. Instead, Islamic commentary explains that this is a logical challenge. The premise of the text is that if a group is entirely certain that they have guaranteed exclusive monopoly on God's favor and paradise, they would eagerly welcome the afterlife rather than fear death. The following verse states that they will not wish for death because of their worldly actions. So it's a rhetorical challenge. So he's not actually contextually looking at the narrative. Yeah, it's not shocking. Let's just take the text outside of its context. Whew. That's important. So, yeah. You know. Let's see. Okay. Getting back to business. Let's get down to business.
true religion wish upon death right now?
I did wish death upon myself many times.
Well, then you have a big problem, man.
Big League Drew says, why did JF?
You're genociding me, bro. You're killing my family. You don't think
you live in Canada and your population is doubling as we speak.
You're killing my family, bro.
This one
My
from
family died.
Big League Drew says, why did JFK not want Israel to have nukes? Why does Israel lie about having them?
So what JFK did say was not that he doesn't allow Israel to have nukes. He wouldn't be in such a position. What he did want is for every single state, including Israel, that just shows how consistent he was, to be subjected to the very same standards and to have their nuclear program, if there is one, to be inspected. That is something that he insisted on out of consistency. What people also forget about is that JFK was also a very big supporter of Israel, and in fact sought the support of the Zionist congregation a lot of times during his elections and also after his presidency.
This one from The Lion says, Muslims might be able to prosper if they put more effort in their own people instead of blaming the West and Israel for every problem.
Powerful.
Nabil says 2 million Christian Palestinian refugees. When Israel bombed and destroyed Christians' churches in Palestine and Lebanon, we don't see you AP condemn Israel.
Okay, so there's no way that this guy's actually anything but a Muslim making this claim. So Israel has not bombed and destroyed churches. There are still 3.
Yeah, and I think this is strange. I always hear these claims where you have someone with an Arabic name, and I'm just like, Have accountability, brother. Like, if you want to try to critique Israel, then critique other spaces. Critique what Somalia did to Somaliland, what happened to the Issa clan. Critique that. Talk about that. Talk about what happens to Kurdish people. Talk about what happens to Sudanese people. Let's be honest. Let's be open. Let's air all of this stuff. But how can you go and just critique Israel all the time without cleaning your own house? There's so many problems. What about Nigeria with Boko Haram? There's so many problems. Pakistan with like Shari Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed. These are and I brought that up actually. I'm like, let's talk about these things. Let's be accountable. If we're accountable, we have good. If we're not accountable, Biriya Kashtam Andavani. Oh God.
Churches standing as we speak that were also standing at the beginning of the war in Gaza. There are only 3 churches. There's a Christian population in Gaza currently that is under 1,000. In fact, several decades ago, there was a Christian population in Gaza of 5,000. At the moment, it has declined to under 1,000. At the same time, the population of Gaza grew significantly by about 1.6. I think actually doubled at the same time. So the Gaza population explodes, no pun intended.
This is actually, well, he made an interesting joke. It's interesting. Jvnior disappears quite a bit during this debate. You know, he kind of comes off quite a bit. It's fascinating. I didn't realize that. I noticed it twice, but I didn't notice there's even more times that he's been off camera. So
it does it
it's an interesting thing
in both ways. While the Christian population declines severely, who in the world do you think is actually persecuting Christians here? Christians have the best lives throughout the Middle East in Israel. People need to stop with these stupid talking points.
Heroes Workshop says Hamas admitted to October 7th and said they'd do it again.
Based.
This one from
Terrorists.
Dr. Shizut Troll says Issa and Julian are chilling. Ezra Gates.
You see my face? I'm in like shock and horror hearing such words.
Says Jvnior, we'll wait until he gets back. The Lion says, I guess Muslims never took over other religions by I guess Muslims never took over other religions' holy sites.
They would never do that. Including the Kaaba, by the way. They would never
Ezra Gate says,
yeah, he's being sarcastic there. Unfortunately, this is it does happen. The Kaaba was an indigenous Arab site. In Islamic tradition, the claim is that the Kaaba originally was an Islamic site, but it was, at least for the historical narrative, it was an indigenous pilgrimage site. So there's an interesting kind of thing. Like there's a chapter in the Quran. It's called Surat al-Fil, the chapter of the elephant. And there was this Christian king named Abraha that comes to take over Mecca because an Arab actually does his business within the church. He builds his church to compete with the Kaaba. But the Kaaba that they're talking about is not the Kaaba that we know now. It was a Kaaba that was a site for indigenous Arabian worshippers. So these are people who worshipped many deities. So it was and the thing is where there's a certain conflation in history where people are like, oh, it's the same thing. Not really. These people worshipped, it was a site for indigenous worship. So that's important to consider. But basically what happened in the surah is that the Arab takes care of his business inside he does a certain kind of nasty business inside the church. They go and seek vengeance. Abraha seeks vengeance against Mecca, and he comes to attack the Kaaba. And then basically these birds come with baked clay and they drop it on Abraha and his men, and they become like stalks of corn, and they're eaten by cows, according to the surah. So, yeah. And I can show it to you here too. I always think it's important to fact check everything. Eaten straw, sorry. Stalks. Here it is. He built a cathedral in Yemen to draw Arab pilgrims away from Mecca, but a local man disrespected it. Like I said, Abraha decided to march on Mecca and demolish the Kaaba. Abraha's army included a large elephant named Mahmud. When the army reached the borders of Mecca, the lead elephant sat down and refused to move. Toward the sacred site, God sent a flock of birds, ababil, carrying small stones of hard baked clay, which I was saying, the sijil, and they dropped these stones on the soldiers, reducing the army to chewed up, eaten straw that were eaten by cows, or looked like they were eaten up by cows. So, yeah, whatever that sijil was is some tough stuff. Yeah. You know. Back to this conversation.
Junior, why should Jews as a category be unsafe because of anything to do with Israel? I thought you said that Judaism is anti-Israel. Please explain.
Okay. When Israel claims to be acting on behalf of all Jews and then goes ahead and kills a child, what do you expect the entire world, if they were to see this child die with their own eyes, what would they think? Jews are evil, right? Because Israel is the only state in the world of the Jews. If a Muslim nation like Jordan commits a crime, nobody's going to look at Jordan and say all Muslims are bad because this Jordanian did it. But if an IDF Israeli soldier shoots a child in the fucking face, everyone's going to look at Israel and Jews.
That never happened, by the way.
It happens
What about
every
Sid Al-Bara?
day, Apis.
It never happened.
Every day.
What did he do?
Every day.
The only evidence you have ever had of that was
Buddy,
of fake scans sent
about
to the
all the
New York
videos he
Times,
dropped?
which turned out to be
these are my family, bro. These are my neighbors,
dude.
my friends.
Junior, you know what the problem is when you try to appeal to your family and play victim.
Don't try.
I went to Israel
You
and interacted
you're
with
talking
so
to a
many
real
people.
Palestinian, bro. You're talking.
I
to
don't give a
someone-
shit what you are, man. I went to Israel and
I
I
know you
interacted
don't
with
give a-
so many people.
What Israel?
Who
Yes,
lost
because
family
you got the
members
perp
everywhere.
walk, bro. You got the perp walk. You got the red carpet.
You went on a birthright trip, bro.
No, I didn't. I
You
went
went
to
all
Israel
expenses
multiple
paid.
times.
I do it on
Celebrities
have-
tend to get the
Hold on,
red
I have
just to be
seen
sure that we
treatment done
hear-
towards
I have
Just
seen
to be
people
clear here.
brutally
That's
murdered.
why I'm smiling, because I'm like, when he's accusing, it's me. He's talking about me.
Hear each other.
They
I see
paid for your
people-
trip.
I have seen people brutally murdered on multiple different videos,
They
proudly and
paid.
happily and joyfully and gleefully by these Palestinian terrorists. I have talked to so many Israelis who have lost at least one family member, who have lost families, who know somebody who was brutally mistreated and killed during October 7th. So
Dude.
stop with this whole victim playing. I don't buy
How
your
many
fucking-
Israelis lost their homes? Because 90% of homes in Palestine have been destroyed.
I don't care about your
One
victim
in
playing.
43
You
Palestinians.
support
lost a
terrorists,
child,
live with the
bro.
consequences.
Israel's more
question,
terrorist
Junior.
than
Okay.
Hamas, bro.
I'm gonna have to intervene on that. Yeah, that's a very hard thing. I understand he's really passionate, and I don't think he means exactly that point. But it's, the Palestinians are innocent human beings. They're stuck under a very difficult regime with Hamas. I think it's just this association with the type of terror that's going on, and the religiously linked to the terror. There's a lot of problems, and there's a lot of issues. So having compassion and empathy is critical. It's necessary. It's needed, and it's not a yes but, it's a yes and it is critical that we have to kind of denounce these horrible terroristic activities that are especially linked to religion. And Junior should want to denounce it as a Muslim. You don't want your community to be tied to evil terrorist activities. They have to be separated. That's a critical point. So, yeah.
Okay,
You support Islamic terrorists.
Israel-
Live with the
Israel-
consequences.
Islamic terrorists is my fucking ass, bro. The IDF are more terrorists than Hamas, bro. Okay,
So I have
it's a
question.
trinity of
Like what's the
terrorism
attitude?
with the IDF.
Good
So I have
luck,
a
man.
Against Durgan.
You're
So I have a
cooked,
quick
bro.
question about this, about the investment. So Do you think that there's a lot of casualties because perhaps Hamas does not invest in the protection of its citizens? So in Israel, they spend millions of dollars on bomb shelters, Iron Dome, each. So when they send a Qassam missile, which is like maybe $200 to produce, they send an Iron Dome missile to intercept that. That's like $40,000 to $50,000. Do you think that that might be a case of why the casualties are so disproportionate? Is that the Israeli government spends a whole lot of money to protect its citizens, and Hamas doesn't. It's not about Palestine, but Hamas itself as a governmental institution.
Where is that money coming?
See, that's the point. I'm making an effort to separate the two. I think they have to be separated. You know, I think the critical point is we need to care about the Palestinian people, but we need to critique Hamas. And it's difficult because that is the goal of Hamas. Hamas wants to make it look like the Palestinian people are a part of, are with them. They, whatever these kind of surveys are done, there's a manipulation from Hamas to do this. So we have to be aware of this. They're a very dangerous organization. It's like a mafia type of thing. You know, it's like being in Stalinist Russia, Mao Zedong China. These are not people that are under coercion. They're under duress. Their humanity is being taken from them, and I think that needs to be considered. And there's these tunnels that are being built where the Palestinian people themselves are not being protected, and it's a tragedy. It's horrific, and there's a lot of you can put blame around the corner, but what is critical here is that in order to really get solutions for Palestinian people, there has to be reconciliations with Israel. And I know that's difficult and I know it's tough, but that is the only really way forward. And there needs to be healing for both Palestinians and Israelis after what happened with October 7th, after, the war within Gaza. There has to be some serious healing to move forward. So that's critical.
It's coming from the United States.
Exactly.
If Israel didn't have U.S. support, I promise you, Israel would be on a ticking time bomb.
The American support, American financial support. America doesn't send money to Israel. America gives military subsidies to Israel, which makes up less than 1% of Israeli GDP. What are you talking about?
Can I please finish? If America pulls support from Israel, Israel has 60 days expiry date.
I give it a week, bro.
And now let me give you the actual facts. Now let me give you the actual facts. America doesn't give money to Israel. America gives military subsidies to Israel, which comes back in terms of purchases from America directly to Israel. And that subsidy actually makes up only less than 1% of Israel's GDP. So Israel doesn't depend in any way
the Iron Dome would not function. Israel would go into extreme debt and would literally, bro, they're running on low cash.
Hamas themselves has openly said that 900,000 build tunnels instead of building shelters for the population.
Listen to
they're terrorists.
Listen to this. 900,000 Israelis live rent-free in Israel because American taxpayers pay for it. What happens if Americans stop paying taxes? 1 million Israelis are going to die of starvation because nobody's paying their welfare checks except for Americans. This is a fact. You can Google it. 900,000 Israelis are living on American tax.
I recommend that everybody actually Googles it. Actually Google it.
Big Google. Drew says, "Peace be with you and pray for MXXXD." Hey, I hope he's okay. Is there something really wrong? He was in chat. Emperor Fat Ass Dog says, "I believe Steven Seagal is the answer to this problem. His Aikido will destroy all evil." Thank you. Emperor Fat Ass Dogs again says, "For everyone on the panel, do you prefer polar bears or black bears?"
Black bears. They're based.
Polar bears.
Bro, I'm finally choosing the colored people for once.
Nobody else? I mean, polar bears are much larger and more aggressive, but
it's because polar bears are Polish, bro. Like we all saw what happened to Warsaw.
We're going to the next one. John Bundock says, "Why do Druze?"
Wow, really weird question, but I guess people want that. I don't know. It's super weird.
Okay, stop laughing. Okay, this one from John Bundock says, "Why do Druze join IDF and not Palestinian factions?"
Is that a question for me or is for the panel?
Because Jews love Israel and Jews love Jews.
No,
And
because
they love to go into the IDF. That's
because the IDF has prostitutes and Hamas
Jews
doesn't
love
have
Jews.
prostitutes.
I'm not sure if you all know what a Druze is, but a Druze would kind of be what you would call a part of this Palestinian collective. A Druze would be considered like an Arab. It comes from kind of Islamic, it's Islamish, sort of like Baha'i. It's an Islamish group. So they call themselves Muwahidun, meaning the Unitarians. Souls continually reborn into human bodies. It's very interesting. So there's a bit of kind of a new age element there that you might say. Closed faith. So there's no conversion in and out of the religion. The faith lacks typical requirements like daily prayers, fasting, or pilgrimage. So you have Lebanon, Syria, Israel. So let's take an image. We can look at what Druze people look like. This is what a Druze person looks like. So they look pretty Middle Eastern. I kind of look like a Druze myself. I look like that guy on the right. Oh, this guy looks super cool. Look at this sage man right here. He looks cool. Look at the Druze. This is what a Druze is. Druze love Jews. I saw their flag. They have such a cute flag, don't they? Here, let's look at 8 facts about the Druze. We'll do a little bit of education here. We're going to learn about the Druze. Oh, wait, let's see. Let's share this tab instead. 8 facts about the Druze. Let's learn about the Druze. The Druze are a minority within Israel who thrive while practicing their own religion, living in close-knit communities in Israel North. Here are 8 facts about the Druze community. The Druze religion began 1100 years ago in the 11th century Egypt among Shia Muslims. A visiting missionary from Persia, from Iran, helped encourage the view that the Caliph of Egypt at the time, Al-Hakim ibn Amr-Allah, was the divine incarnation of God. Amidst an atmosphere of great religious tension, Al-Hakim disappeared in 2021. So the Shia tradition is super interesting. You have so many kind of Messianic groups. So does Baha'i. It comes out of Messianic Shiaism as well. So Shia has like a big thing. Ismaili. It's such a small group, but it's yielded so much interesting results, you know. Druze believe that in one day he will return. It's like the what do they call it? The Mahdi in occultation. The Mahdi is going to return. Much finer points of the Druze religion are secret, even to ordinary Druze people, and are maintained by religious leaders called uqul, knowers. Aspects of the Druze religion are widely known, including monotheism, a belief in reincarnation, equality between men and women, and a host of prophets who span Christian, Muslim, and ancient Greek culture. Druze have a unique religious text called Al-Hikmah al-Sharifa, which is only read by the faith's elders. Among Druze's holy figures are Moses, Moses' father-in-law Jethro, Plato, Socrates, Jesus, Muhammad, and Alexander the Great. The Druze religion doesn't recognize conversion either into the religion or out of to another faith. That's very similar to being Jewish. You can become a Muslim, but the Jewish people will still see you as a Jew. Druze people live in Israel, Lebanon, Syria, and elsewhere. Druze followers left Egypt and flourished further north in what today are nations of Lebanon, Syria, and Israel. Under French rule, there was an attempt to establish an independent Druze state inside of the present-day Lebanon, which failed. Today, estimates of the number of Druze people in the world today range from 800,000 to 2 million. The greatest number, over 600,000 of Druze people, live in Syria. Smaller communities exist in Lebanon, Lebanon, Israel, and abroad in Europe, Australia, and both in North and South America. Approximately 150,000 Druze live in Israel. For generations, many Druze face persecution and discrimination at the hands of their neighboring Muslim communities and overlords. Though Druze people speak Arabic, They consider themselves a distinct, unique group. Druze fought on Israel's side in the Israel's 1948 War of Independence. During the British Mandate period, Great Britain ruled present-day Israel. Tensions between Jews and Arabs soared. A series of Arab pogroms against Jewish communities swept present-day Israel in 1929, resulting in the deaths of scores of Jews. During this time, the Druze people generally sided with the Jews. Druze sided with the Jews. The Druze sided with the Jews. When Israel declared its independence and faced an onslaught from surrounding Arab armies, the Druze people stood with Israel and fought on the Israel side during the War of Independence. I'm going to tell you something else too. There's definitely going to be a difficulty too, because the Druze are from the Shia community. Sunni people, unfortunately, have this kind of big hatred for the Shia. I think so. I have a story about Shia. I grew up with Shia who were of European ancestry, and they had guns and they were vegan. So that it's like something from a movie, you know? Like they had, what were they called? Cincinnati Nazis and the Blues Brothers. I was with vegan Shias of European ancestry with guns. It's so funny, you know? Like ready to defend themselves. So the Shia are they face a lot of persecution from the Sunni community because the history on a literal level is actually pretty problematic. This Islamic history, you have this thing called the Great Fitna, which basically means that the ashab, the companions, were actually locked in battle with each other in the earlier on, right, in the early generations. And it's a very difficult situation. I think in a lot of Sunni spaces, besides the scholarly spaces, this is kind of ignored, and they kind of act like everything was going well. But there's definitely problems with Muawiyah and Yazid, who come later, and they force abdicate Caliph Ali to leave the caliphate, and Muawiyah takes the throne. It's very, very problematic. There's a lot of difficult in the literal history, and the Shia are much more open about this, and they're more critical. They don't see all the Sahaba as equal. The Sunni Muslims instead try to create an equal narrative. It is hard, though, because if these people are fighting each other, can you see them all as a united front? This is it's a very difficult thing to do. I think if you take a spiritual approach, you can kind of see these folks as spiritual archetypes, and you can kind of get around that. But if you're looking at it from a very literal historical lens, there are issues. So the Shia are critiqued for their critical view of certain folks like Abu Bakr, Umar, and Uthman. Abu Bakr is said to have stolen Fatima's, the Caliph Abu Bakr stole Lady Fatima's garden, and Umar ibn al-Khattab was actually accused of actually having Lady Fatima having a miscarriage because he hit a door. It's pretty intense stuff. And then the Caliph Uthman was known as a nepotist, where he basically put his own family in certain positions, and that created fitna. Fitna means strife in English. See, one thing I don't like about certain like Muslim da'is is they don't actually tell you the words that they're saying. They should tell you what these Arabic words mean. So yeah, a fitna is like a strife. Not Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII, but he's kind of cool. But this kind of strife, well, I think he's called that because he has strife within himself. If you go through Final Fantasy VII, you'll know what I mean. But the strife within, So let's look. During the British Mandate, when the Great Britain ruled over Israel, a long-standing friendship links the Druze and the Jews. I just love that. The Druze and the Jews. Noted former Israel President Chaim Herzog. In our War of Independence, the Druze fought side by side with the Jews to repel the Arab invasion. So, yeah, Israel is very caring about the Druze. Like when the Druze were attacked in other places, Israel comes in and says, we got to stand up with the Druze, because the Druze are very connected to Israel. Yeah, Al-Hakim is a very interesting caliph. He has a lot of interesting things about him. So I think the Druze have a very different outlook on who Al-Hakim is than maybe other folks do. But I always try to take the positive. Like even the Mormon prophet Joseph Smith. I think there's critical analysis of him, but I think there's a lot of things that he's really affected the LDS community. So I'm very careful on making any kind of critical judgment, especially people who they have very strong attachments and connections with people. And I understand people can be highly critical of this, but I don't know. It's hard. I try to be very cautious with those things. So that's my personal point of view. But let's continue. Where are we? Okay. The Druze of Israel. Most of the Israeli Druze live in Carmel, the region of Israel's north. Mount Carmel. What a great name, Mount Carmel. There's also a flourishing Jews community in and around Haifa, a place I've never been to. I'd love to go. About 18,000 Druze people who live in the Golan Heights, which Israel gained from Syria in the Six-Day War, and which Israel annexed in 1981. Majd al-Shams, where Hezbollah's massacre of children took place, is a bustling town in the Golan Heights. The vast majority of over 11,000 residents are Druze. Unlike Druze people who live in the rest of Israel, Druze residents of the Golan have a choice of whether or not to accept Israel's citizenship. Each year, scores of people do so. The Druze flag. It's such a pretty flag. Visitors of Israel North may have noticed the colorful rainbow flags flying in some towns and villages. I've seen it. This is a Druze flag, made up of red, green, yellow, blue, and white, sometimes flown in a striped shape. It can also take the form of a colorful star. Each of the flag's 5 colors is associated with a particular human trait, including the masculine, feminine, wisdom, etc. That's beautiful. Israel's Druze community is flourishing. By many measures, the most successful and flourishing Druze community in the world is in Israel. Since Israel's founding in 1948, the Israeli Jewish population has increased over 1,000%. With the creation of Israel Strait and the era of liberation for Israel's Druze, and historian Howard M. Sachar has noted that the early days of Israel's poverty-stricken statehood, Israel encouraged Druze life by granting the Druze the status of an official religious community with their own religious council and courts, and by supporting their villages with generous measures of road, water, pipelines, and agricultural credit and guidance. Israeli Druze people have strong family values. 99% of Israeli Druze said they believe in God. Only 1% report having married outside their faith. 93% describe themselves as being proud to be Druze. Israeli Druze serve the IDF and excel in Israeli society. Druze men are required to complete Israeli army service. Arab Christians and Muslims are not required to serve in the army, like Yosef Haddad. Yosef Haddad was a Christian Arab who served in the IDF, and he gets attacked for doing that. In the army and elsewhere in Israeli society, many Druze people reach the highest levels out of the proportion to their small numbers. When they serve in the armed forces, Druze soldiers serve disproportionately in elite army units, helping to foster a feeling of intense patriotism in their country, in their community. Druze Israeli also work as university professors, politicians, members of Israel's Knesset, diplomats, judges, physicians, and other prestigious fields. So they're doing pretty well. Wherever Druze people live, they traditionally have felt a fierce attachment to their home nation. Each community is completely patriotic and loyal to its country, explained Amin Amer, an Israeli Druze entrepreneur, IDF veteran, and co-founder of HR tech company Skillin. The secret of the incredible success of Israel's Druze community, he feels. A major Druze holiday takes place in Israel each spring. Thousands of Druze people flock to the Israel city of Tiberias. I've been to Tiberias for the Druze festival of Ziyarat al-Nabi Shu'aib. So, yeah, Shu'aib, some people believe that is a translation for Jethro. Shuaib is a prophet mentioned in the Quran. Nabi is prophet. I think a ziyarat is like a visitation, which honors Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, whom Druze believe is buried just west of Tiberias. The 3-day-long festival is recognized as a holiday in Israel. Druze people don't work during the pilgrimage, and Israeli leaders commonly extend holiday greetings to the Druze community during this time. Let's see. Visitation. See, I'm right. Yeah. My Arabic isn't too terrible. I do know some. Yeah, see, it's cool. We should learn about these things. The Druze and the Jews. I think we should always learn something. I think that's always cute. Let's see. Yes, so and I wanted to confirm this too. The Druze are an ethnically Arab community, and it's their native language, but they are a distinct ethno-religious minority group. So they're an Arab group that has their own distinct religion. But I'm like, I look like a Druze. Like, I could look like these people too. You saw their pictures because I look pretty Arab. So, yeah, when I was there and I saw these Arab people, I'm like, I look like a Sephardi Mizrahi or an Arab. That's what I know. That's what I look like. So, like when I went to West Bank, I'm like, all these people look like me. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, the IDF hires TikTok prostitutes so they can get all the young boys in. But now the young boys don't even want to go.
From interesting knowledge to kind of very disgusting language. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ya Sheikh. Ya Sheikh.
Go for the prostitutes because they know they're going to end up killing themselves if they sign up for the IDF.
The question was about the Druze. Why do Druze prefer to go to the IDF instead of joining Palestinian groups?
Because the IDF has prostitutes for them.
Oh, so you're saying that the Druze are just people who want to be enticed by prostitutes?
No, I'm just saying, like, that's the reason many people are joining the IDF.
All right, guys. So Jvnior here, Hamas fan says.
So this is not even true because the Druze people can only be with Druze, like the Druze men would be with Druze women. They don't go outside their community. That's just the point that was made there. Only 1% of Druze people intermarried outside of their community. So I know. I talked to a Druze commander once. He's a really nice guy.
The Druze people are just lured through prostitution into the IDF.
Yes, that's how Druze if you're Druze, don't join IDF or Hamas. Go live your life. Don't join war. Don't go die for another man.
Big League.
They're Israelis, man. They're proud to be Israelis. What's wrong with you?
Big League.
Well, and see, the Druze were protected by Israel, and like even if you're like a Code 19 or a lot of like Muslim-ish minority groups would feel more safe in Israel than they would in like a Hamas place, because these Hamas people are not going to recognize like submitters who believe in Rashad Khalifa or the messenger Rashad Khalifa or the Caliph al-Hakim. For Druze, like it's hard. There's many different. Having diversity is very difficult for religious fanaticisms and fanatics. They don't want to allow people with different thoughts to coexist. So I say, andavani, it very custom, very difficult.
Drew says, is it true that Jewish folks spit on Christians in Israel?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
They don't just spit on them; they slap them, they kick them.
It's not true. I went to many of the stores in Israel. They have Messianic talit. A talit is a prayer cloth. You know what? I'm going to put my talit on right now so you get to see what a talit is. But yeah, they wear talit. And they have Messianic talit that has like the ichthus, that's like the Jesus fish, because it's like the Greek that talks about belief in Jesus. With the menorah, they have all kinds of crosses and everything. You can buy crosses anywhere there because it's an open country. The Jewish people there are like, yeah, we don't really believe in these things, but we're not going to stop you from having whatever you like. Here, I'm going to grab my talit. I should wear my talit for this. Grab my talit. Oh God. See, I have my talit here. I can look like I do in the video. My hair's a little bit shorter though. But you see, I have my talit here. It's got its little fringes. I bought this, I think, in Israel too. So. Yeah, there's a thing called the sutra. Rudy Rockman wears it. It's a like a Middle Eastern kind of similar kind of like keffiyeh. Yeah, so yeah, Tawheed means oneness in God. That's the an Islamic term. Talit. See, we'll show you this. Look. See the talit? I have mine right here. You're good. Now we're going to go back to our regular scheduled programming to hear.
They tell them to leave. They do a lot of things.
Dude, I could literally play you a video.
They
here of
even
me
they even
talking to
rip the
multiple
cross
Jews.
off their neck, bro. They take the cross. If
Not
Apis
true.
walks around
Not true.
Israel, around the Temple Mount, this shit will be ripped off his neck in 10 minutes. I
All
promise
right,
you.
so I'll just give one rebuttal to this,
You like
James. I actually recorded myself, and this makes me think I should just publish that. I actually recorded myself walking through the old city of Jerusalem, including through the Jewish quarter, where almost only Jews are, with a cross on my chest. I walked through there for half an hour or so, and it was a very boring video because nothing happened.
Let's see. Post that video. I dare you.
I will.
This one from K-Con says, James, can you read this one? All four of you, please. It's important. What's your favorite pizza? He asks every stream. He already knows my answer. Mine is taco. Yes, it's messy. I don't care. What's your favorite pizza? He's being real.
Halal pepperoni. Halal pepperoni.
Mine is cheese pizza. Cheese pizza go hard as fuck, bro.
Yeah, you would
Chicago
cheese.
style cheese
All right.
pizza.
Who else?
Halal pepperoni.
AP,
Halal
you said
Hawaiian
cheese
style.
too?
Yes, cheese pizza.
I like cheese or white. I like that white garlic
Let's
pizza.
go.
It's
What is wrong with
I
you
love-
guys? 3 out of 4 say cheese.
As a Muslim Palestinian, I love pepperoni pizza, but the pepperoni has to be halal.
Oh well, halal pepperoni, no pork. Yeah,
Whatever.
Hello,
ALC says, question for you all.
Jewish people can't eat that because you can't have fleshek mixed with milkus, which is meat and milk. So you can't actually have a halal pepper unless it's a vegan pepperoni. I probably have a vegan pepperoni pizza. That sounds kind of cool.
Do you think Muhammad would lead Hamas today or condemn Hamas? Also, what are your...
Lead.
We'll give you a chance on that one first.
Lead.
Hamas is based to so lead.
I'm probably the only person who can say condemn. I don't know. I think I think that the Prophet Islam would take a different perspective, but it's pretty wild that both for different reasons are saying he would lead it. I don't know. I kind of like Charlie Hebdo's comic where it shows that the Prophet of Islam is being attacked by ISIS. I don't think that these people would accept the Prophet of Islam in a lot of ways because extremists and fanatics usually are so exclusive that they would actually attack their own leadership because, you know, they make up their own stuff and it becomes so like within their own law, their own community that whatever they say is true is true. That, you know, like the ancient ones would probably not even fit their agenda that they have now. So it's kind of interesting question, but yeah, I would say probably they would go against, like, because I think all these type of groups are like that. But it's hard to say because we don't. History's so murky, and we have so many different narratives, and it really depends on who you believe this person actually was. If you believe that a person was a certain way, even if I grant this very negative version, I still think it would be problematic. It would still, I think there would still be a major clash, because like you think about things like the Great Fitna. So
why would the Prophet need to lead a resistance group? The Prophet is the Prophet of God. He would be able to destroy any oppressors with one prayer. So there would be no need for a resistance group to begin with if the Prophet was here.
This one from Do Appreciate ALC says, oh, they also asked, what are your thoughts on Allah agreeing with Umar's hijab? What are your thoughts on Allah agreeing with Umar's hijab?
So this is a question because so according to the Islamic narrative, Muhammad had his wives. His wives were uncovered at some point, and then his best friend Omar, who later became the second caliph, kept telling him, "Cover up your wives, man. Cover up your wives, man." And he wouldn't listen. So one day, when they were going out to the bathroom, to the toilet in the desert, he crept up upon them and said, "Hey, I recognize you." And then he went up to the Prophet again and said, "Hey, cover up your wives." And then Allah suddenly, upon then, revealed a Quran verse according to which all women had to be veiled. So Allah agreed with Umar. That's the question. But it's irrelevant to the topic. It just shows that kind of Islam is kind of man-made.
Look, I'll tell you one thing. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu was one of the most firm men upon his innate fitrah, which is the innate disposition of morality and righteousness that has been placed in every single human by God. When someone has the feeling that other strangers are looking at the women, and he thinks that the only way to stop them is not by killing them, but rather by covering up the women, that is an instinct, because he knows that these perverted men are looking at these women. He saw it, so he gave the advice, and he advised the Prophet. But the Prophet, who was only speaking from revelation and not his own knowledge, didn't just agree to him, because the Prophet doesn't just agree to any man. The Prophet obeys the command of Allah. So when Allah revealed this verse, which was already going to be revealed, whether Umar ibn Khattab said it or not, when this verse was revealed, then Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ observed and commanded Allah's command and observed Allah's command. That's exactly.
Yeah, it's a bit of preaching. I don't know. I would have just stayed out of this one personally. I don't think this is a really. I get what the question is asking, and it's a trap question. I don't think Jvnior really adeptly answers this question to satisfactorily deal with this. The question basically is, if the Quran is there's nothing like it, and nobody can kind of aspire it except Allah, then why are these verses sounding exactly like what Umar ibn al-Khattab is saying? I think a better answer is just say, look, this is outside of my scope, and I'm not going to engage this. However, he wants to try to explain it, and I don't really think it's very satisfactory. He's like, well, Allah knows, and I'm like, if you're going to make that kind of explanation, then pretty much you could just try to explain everything away, and you don't really have any kind of logical grounding or standing. Probably better to just kind of avoid this question and just kind of move on. But, Dr. Jvnior has to address
what happened. So Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu didn't predict any Quran verses. Rather, he was a man built on righteousness, such righteousness that he already knew how to be a Muslim, right, in some extent. Before the Quran was completely revealed, he knew how to be the modest, perfect character of a man. He was the one who fought for Islam. He was called the Lion of Islam.
Allahu Akbar.
We'll jump to the next one. Thank you, Max M says, why do Muslims worship a PDF? Never mind that.
We don't worship a man. Muslims don't worship a man. We worship the God of Jesus. So whether you call him the God the Father, you call him the Triune God, whatever you want to call him.
Oh, Triune!
We follow the one.
Wow, Triune has its first iteration here. I didn't even know that. The Triune God. Do you all know what the Triune God is? Oh, Triune. Oh, it's the Triune. Not the Triune, the Triune. Yeah, it's a very difficult question. So I think the way he answered it, he kind of it's not satisfactory for people who really want. It's a very deep question, and he's giving a very superficial answer that I don't think. I'm not sure if the chat here. Let me put a poll in. Are you satisfied by Junior's response to that question? Let's put that in the chat. I'll just keep it playing.
Which is Allah. That is the God of Abraham. That is the God of Jesus. He's an unseen God. And we will see on Judgment Day that God. So
Just stop trying to claim Jesus. You don't respect Jesus at all. You don't believe in
Jesus is a Muslim prophet, bro. I have to respect Jesus. I have to believe in Jesus as a Muslim. Otherwise, I have to leave Islam.
You don't believe anything Jesus said, so don't stop, man.
What did Jesus say? The Bible is Jesus'
different
words?
debate. It's a different debate. We can have that debate if you want.
Dude, oh my God. You're saying that Jesus said everything that's in the Bible?
This one coming in from
Somebody clip that, bro.
Al-Zut Flavored Kisses says, Junior, we are here waiting in the desert. When you need the strength of 30 men, you can bring your monkey toy for comfort.
You know, the Al-Zut was actually about jinn, not human beings, so they didn't have bodies, okay? So when it says they rode him or did anything, it's talking about spirits, not human beings. Nice joke. I'll bring a monkey toy to your house.
Wait, what?
Maybe I could feed you some bananas as well.
No, why?
I'll record it and post it online.
The martyr says, anyway, okay. The martyr says, Junior, if you're against the Talmud, how come the Quran plagiarized verses in the Talmud? Quran 532, Mishnah, Sanhedrin 4:5. No more running from me.
The Quran wasn't written, it was revealed first. So how could the prophet copy something that he couldn't even read? Our prophet couldn't read.
Okay. I'm going to show what this is because I think this is important. Here we go. The location is Mishnah Sanhedrin 4:5 in the Babylonian Talmud Sanhedrin. The concept explains that humanity descends from a single person, Adam, to teach anyone that who destroys a single life destroys an entire world. Anyone who saves a single life saves the entire world. So that's what it is. And it's in the Quran, Surah Al-Ma'idah 532. It's an ordinance given to the children of Israel. This ordinance is found in Mishnah and Talmud, Sanhedrin 37a. So that's the question's talking to.
And the Quran was first revealed through the tongue of the prophet, and then it was written. So how could our prophet recite something that he couldn't even read? He couldn't read the Talmud. He couldn't read the Torah. He couldn't read the Bible. This is a known fact. Our prophet couldn't read. Okay? So he couldn't have copied anything.
So here's the thing. It doesn't matter whether Muhammad could and could not read. That is, of course, completely besides the point.
Who read the Talmud for him? Who read the Talmud?
The Quran in chapter 5, verse 32 clearly copies the narrative of the Talmud and says that we, Allah, decreed upon the Jews that whoever kills one person has killed all mankind, and so on. It then, of course, goes on and says anyone who is an enemy of Allah should be killed, executed, and so on and so forth. However, what happened there is very obvious. Muhammad was interacting with Jews in Medina, and the Jews were telling him about what is written in their own laws, and they were talking about the Talmud. These were actually rabbinic teachings.
What's your evidence for that?
Not revelations or anything like that. And Muhammad,
what evidence you have for that?
Muhammad took that as revelations from their Bible, probably from the Torah.
Now you're just making shit up.
So he
now you're just making shit
into
up.
The Quran. That is the best explanation we have. Because why in the world does the Quran say, we decreed upon the children of Israel, and then says something that rabbis said in the Talmud? It doesn't make any sense.
You understand that the God of Judaism, the God of Christianity, is the God of Islam?
Okay, but as I just said, what it plagiarizes from the Talmud is not something that God said. It is something that rabbis say as commentary.
If a rabbi interprets the Torah, because the rabbis are not heretics, they don't just make shit up. Okay,
Heretics.
they interpret the Torah. Okay, and then they say, "Oh, this is what God taught us. This is what God," because rabbis follow the commandments of God. So everything they say was taught to them by God. Now, if they go and say something that is out of line or out of pocket, you can actually argue with them and say, no, it's not. But when the Quran confirms something, then you know that this is the truth. Because if the Quran confirms something that came before it, then it is the truth. If the Quran contradicts it, then you know what came before the Quran is false. And this is the method of, this is the litmus test where we use the Quran against previous scriptures. Because you guys, you like to use this in the Islamic dilemma. Why don't you believe in the Bible? Why don't you believe in the Torah? Because there are many things in the Torah and the Quran today that contradict each other, or the Christian Bible and the Quran contradict each other. So we have to take the Quran as an authoritative source, and whatever is confirmed in the Quran is true. Whatever is not confirmed by the Quran is not true.
Let's go to the next one.
Julian confirms that the Talmud is a revelation.
We have so many questions. This one from the Martyr says, Junior, if you're against the Talmud, oh God, they said, Junior, if Palestine was there before the Jews, why is the Al-Aqsa Mosque built over the Temple of Solomon? How much petrol did you huff today?
It's not built over any temple. When our beloved companions went and saw this land, it was a flat land, flattened. Ruins, at least you have one wall, some rocks left over. There was nothing. It was flat land. It was flattened to the ground by God himself.
Okay, but everybody knows that there was the temple right there on the spot.
No, only Jews knew that. And you're never going to build that temple, by the way. You can try for the next 1,000 years. It's never going to be.
Okay, but that's the point. So the questioner asked why it was built on the spot of the Temple of Solomon. We know, everybody knows that is a spot. Why was it built there?
It wasn't built on the Temple of Solomon. It was built on regular land. Do you think we came and did that on purpose? You
didn't come, man. You're some guy from Canada.
We didn't build it on the Temple Mount out of disrespect.
Dr. Shizut says, Junior needs his monkey to cope. Why are you zudding that monkey, Junior, that's sick?
The monkey was an improvision. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I didn't plan to do that. But when I heard Apis went to Israel, I was like, let me visualize what his trip looked like, because clearly he was given some money by Netanyahu. So
you have some banana fantasies.
The banana represents
the monkey looked like apostate prophet and Issa Kabir.
You have some very, very interesting fantasies, man.
Big League Drew says, who is Aisha and how old was she?
What was that point?
Big League
prophet and Issa.
You have
the
some
banana
very interesting fantasies.
Because clearly he was given some money by Netanyahu. So
some banana fantasies.
The banana represents
the monkey looked like apostate prophet and Issa Kabir.
I look fine.
You have some very, very interesting fantasies.
Big League Drew says, who is Aisha and how old was she?
You look at my eyes, I'm like, what?
She was 6 or 7 at marriage, and 9 when Muhammad raped her.
What? How? Rape deserves a victim, right?
We don't say that. We can't use that word. We just use forcibly copulates.
Dude, stop saying that word, man. What's wrong with you?
You can't just say that when there's no victim, bro. Because you're honestly delusional when you say that word, and then you claim that Aisha was a victim, and then you can't bring any evidence of Aisha being a victim. So you've destroyed your own.
So what you're saying is that if today you have forcibly sexual interaction with
why are you using modern standards?
A younger person, and that person never complains, that is technically not sexual assault. Is that what you're saying?
It's sexual assault if you're not married to that person. It's out of wed marriage, out of wed sex, which is completely forbidden. And
he means out of wedlock. He means out of wedlock.
Have sex with a child out of marriage, you're going to hell. Because you had sex out of
the point at wedlock does not engage with the ethical question that's being brought up, though. You could, if an older man marries an underage child, there are complexities and problems and ethical questions that need to be asked, and that's what the question is. So going and saying, the argument that's being made is not very good. Yeah. Whew. We're almost done for this stream.
Bro, you are retarded. You just called a prophet of God a pedophile. You just called a prophet of God a rapist.
But
This
if he's a pedophile, then he's a pedophile. What am I supposed to say?
You are accusing him of that, and you're going to stand in front of God on Judgment Day unless you repent.
Next up, Orcsy95 says, Junior,
Fair
that's rude. Please give your cousin's wife's toy back.
I agree.
Your cousin wife's toy back.
I agree.
They're saying your wife is your cousin. Just to be
My wife
clear.
is not my cousin. I've said that many times.
Gotcha.
My wife was a Christian who converted to Islam.
I don't believe you.
Big League Drew says, I hope
So you
we
don't
can
have to believe.
says I hope we can agree here that all governments
Junior,
are
your
bad.
mother was too, right?
Yes.
They
They
said-
both converted to Islam.
Stop interrupting James, man.
It was like some sort of tasteless joke, you
James.
guys. You think this is
James.
funny? This one from Big League Drew says, I hope we can agree here that all governments are bad. Peace be with you. Thank you.
No.
And Emperor Fat Ass Dog says, imagine what Junior does with Go. Oh, okay. This one from
Yeah, that's kind of really nasty and unqualified. I have some comments after the debate is over. Whew. This is so
Yoruba
long.
Mate Talks says, the man, the legend, Issa Kabir. After show on Yoruba Mate Talks, open panel. Let's discuss the debate.
He's so
I
cute.
like Issa's smile. Happy guy. He's linked in the description box. And Big League Drew says, what percentage of U.S. taxpayer money goes toward Israel healthcare system?
So I was talking about this. I'm wearing the same thing in the video. This is a Jewish prayer shawl called a talit. And I'll show you in the chat so you can see it. This is what all the ancient Israelites were wearing. It's a very, very important thing, and we should learn about it. We talked about Druze today. We're talking about talit. We're actually learning a lot today. See, look at this. Do you see the talit? That's what I'm wearing. You can see the Hebrew on it. It's made from wool with white and black or blue stripes. Mine have black. The tzitzit. So let me show you the tzitziot. Oh, look, they're right here. And it's got 613 commandments. That's the symbolic things of the strings and the knots. So over the head or the shoulder. You'll see it. So we can look at that. See? Look, you can see what a talit looks like. There we go. Now we're going back.
Compared to Israel's tax money.
Less than
I think it's only
1%.
1% of American money goes to Israel.
It's
Fine,
significantly
fine, bro.
0.5% or something.
Bro, 80% of Israel's GDP comes from America and foreign sources.
What?
80% of the current GDP of Israel.
All right, everybody. Here's
wouldn't be
something to
possible.
do. So
Wouldn't be
earlier,
possible without America
Junior
and foreign
Junior made a
sources.
claim and said, "Hey, Google it, guys." So I would encourage everyone to listen to Junior, what Junior earlier said, and to do the following: Google for yourself right now as we speak. Since Google has this fantastic new function of AI answering your questions with proper sources, right? Google it right now. What percentage of Israeli GDP comes from US funding? Please Google it right now, everybody. Do it at home. Thank you.
I agree.
This one, do appreciate your question. K Cons says, after show, assume you don't, let's see. Big League Drew says, what would Jesus do? But doesn't give the context. Dylan Cantor says, Hamas has been committing suicide via suicide bombs since 1994. And forgive me, it's not it's self-terminating is what we say. This is going to get demonetized anyway, but whatever. This I don't know why I try. But if you had a response, you can give one.
It's funny, James, okay? We don't got to abide by TOS. It's just funny.
Yeah.
What Junior suggested to earlier, he could just buy accounts.
James,
That's
you
true.
have to blame our opponents here because they're the ones who came with the derogatory terms and the insults, and they think it's funny when
Dude,
they
you're
should be
insulting me since the beginning of this debate. Are you aware of
bro.
that?
You need to repent, bro. I will repent. You need to go
I
repent.
hate to do it, but we just have so many questions. Jonathan Tessier says, Junior, the drones, jets, that's the IQ difference.
Nice.
All
My
right.
IQ is 149. Ridvan's IQ is not 200. I'm telling
I
you.
would say
right
that Junior's IQ is probably at most 67.
I've literally done.
Okay, Apostate Prophet.
Yeah,
There's
not.
no way we're still doing the 6-7 in 2026, bro. Leave that in 2025, okay?
Dude, I only did it like a maximum of 6-7 times so far.
What are you? You're trying
okay.
Bro,
Calm down.
Julian, you know why he's saying 6-7? He's trying to summon demonic spirits, bro. That's why he keeps saying it.
This is what a 67 IQ person would think.
This one from AG says, thank you, James. Thanks for your kind words for making these talks possible for the world to see. Junior, I wish you the best of luck. I hope you make it big. According to my intellectual Muslim friends, you are a Shubahat machine. What's that mean?
So Shubahat in Arabic means doubt. So he's saying that Junior causes people to doubt Islam. You're also you Shubahat. Let's see. I'm just showing you. Ambiguities, specious arguments. The Shubahat, as you can see here. This is Shubahat. Represents one or two primary categories of spiritual diseases. So having doubt. Oh, and the great Sheikh al-Shuyuk, of course, has to appear. Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim. Of course, they're going to talk about Shubahat.
Shubahat means like treading the gray area between haram and halal.
Oh.
It means a doubt. That's what it
The
means.
martyr says to the chat, who won? Put ones in chat if you thought it was AP and Issa. Put twos if you thought it was Junior and Julian. Big League Drew says, name another world leader with an active
Dude,
arrest.
wait a minute, man.
Says, name another
Junior,
world
you don't know what
leader.
Shubahat means?
What
kind
is
of Islamic
wrong with you?
expert
Did
are
you
you?
not hear me? They say,
Bro,
No, wait,
stop
this is
cutting
very
James
important,
off.
James. This is very important,
Stop
James. I'm
cutting
very
James
sorry.
off.
I'm very sorry, James, but this is very, very important because
Now you're gonna say
Junior-
something stupid, and then I'm gonna debunk you. Go
Junior
ahead.
just didn't understand what Shubahat means, which is very, very incredible for somebody who is a Muslim scholar.
I
Anyway,
do-
James, continue. Anyway, James.
I do know what, bro. What are you talking about?
this one
Go ahead,
from
go ahead.
Big League Drew says, name another world leader with an active arrest warrant for crimes against humanity other than Bibi. Genuinely curious.
Yeah, look at the ICC. They talk about Vladimir Putin. Yeah, we can look at that. I'll show you the arrest warrants here. Let's see, let me find it. Yeah, see, Vladimir Putin's here. So, yeah, Hamas and Taliban leadership. So, I'm not sure they want to go with that. I mean, there's. Are you really genuinely interested, or are you going to actually Google it and find out?
I think they're asking UAP.
No, I don't think they're asking me. I think they're asking them because that's the question I asked to both Junior and Julian.
Well, what question?
But they I mean, they kind of obviously didn't have the answer earlier. So I think
what question?
they say
Which
another.
other?
They say name another world leader with an active arrest warrant for crimes against humanity other than Bibi.
Oh, well, wasn't the response supposed to be Putin, right?
Oh no, I was asking you.
Yes, Putin. Yes.
Yes, because he's also a wanted war criminal by the ICC.
There are more than just Putin, but Putin is the other one, yes. But
Netanyahu's the worst because he kills women and children.
This
and
one
has
from
fun.
And Putin doesn't.
Robin Webster says, stop fighting and killing each other over literary characters. Issa W. Issa Kabir sends a super chat himself. Says thank you to my colleagues AP and Jvnior and Julian. That's kind of you, Junior Issa. Thank you. Ezra Gate says question for Jvnior. Sait Dair Oi Nak. Just checking. Come on, guys. Big league.
Is that
that's really
English?
what it said.
That's
Big
not
league.
English, bro. Speak English.
This one from Danica Braveblood says the Quran mentions Israel 43 times. Palestine, 0.
It mentions Al Ard al Muqaddasa, which belongs to Muslims. Thank you very much.
Big League Drew says
So it doesn't mention Palestine.
said you may be able to justify the soup, but how do you justify Jacob lying to his father, pretending to be another son when his father was blind? Issa.
Yeah, Issa. What's
Yeah, I mean that is a part of the story. It's a very we read it actually. You know, being connecting the channel, we actually read this story, and it's a very tragic thing. And then basically, there's a karmic reality that Jacob has to face, where he gets himself deceived too. He deceives, and he has to face deception. So, from his uncle. So it's pretty intense.
wrong with you?
What, say that question again.
You may be able to justify the soup, but how do you justify Jacob lying to his father, pretending to be another son when his father was blind?
Yeah, it's a part of the long story. We don't have time to go through it, but that is a part of the story too. And the mother of both of the sons. There's a whole. It's very complex and it's nuanced. You know, it takes a long time to go through that.
It really is a very complex story. That's why you should come to the channel, and we can read these stories together and learn about them.
This one coming in from Max M says question for Jvnior, was Muhammad a PDF file?
No. Even
AP,
by modern standards, no.
Maddie says AP, does the Quran ever mention Palestine?
No, the Quran does not mention Palestine.
No, it doesn't.
Ugh. This one, holy heck.
Ard al Muqaddasa.
Question for the moderator. Why do you continue to allow that idiot to call someone a puss? Do your job and stop the idiot from childish name calling. I mean, we really let pretty much anything fly here. So, like,
I mean, you want me to call him apostate prostate? I'll wait for him to come back to call him
yes,
that. Because
we're
I'm
all
like,
just dying for you to
Okay,
say that.
Jim, since you let everything fly here, can I throw a Roman salute up?
No.
Oh my god.
No.
So anything that's within YouTube terms of service, that's just kind of how the channel's always
I'll
been.
leave the call if you do that, bro.
So we
Yeah, sorry, he doesn't do it. He asks to do it. That's the clarification. He's like, I want to do the Roman salute. I want to do the Sieg Heil. I thought he actually did it, but it's good. See, we're reviewing the thing. So he requests to do it. And basically Junior's like, no, I can't. No, I'm not going to do it.
Okay, on Junior's sakes,
No, we're going to go to the next question. Edihan's Cough says, can anyone name a person in history who is seen positively after denying widely recognized genocide?
Wait, can you say that question again?
Can anyone name a person in history who is seen positively after denying widely recognized genocide?
Never.
The Martyr says, if Greater Israel is evil, what about the expansion of Islam from Arabia to Iran, Israel, the Levant, Egypt, etc.? No different than the Islamic conquest.
Apostate prostate is back. You want to answer that question?
What is it? What is this terrorist? What's it? What is
So they're asking about like the Islamic expansion. Is it any less worse than? It was pretty much the question I had asked earlier about the argument about Jewish expansion versus Islamic expansion. Is there a justification for Islamic expansion?
I don't understand the comparison.
This one
I don't think that there's no Jewish expansion taking place. Nor was there any Jewish expansion in history. I mean, what period are we talking about? I really don't get the question. But Islamic expansionism is very unique among religious communities and religious groups and all that. Islam started as a violent militaristic religion and expanded to the vast majority.
The fascinating story of growth, where the worst sin was lying. How many acts would be illegal or deemed unholy for other people did Prophet commit in his growth? Little different when
Can you finish that? Yeah, I know it's not funny. Saying that you do the Roman salute is not a funny thing. It's just not. And he's like, I want to
Of
do it.
places where Islam spread through violent conquests. That's how Islam spread from the very beginning till now. There were few instances, few places in the world where Islam spread through trade, some through preaching, mostly through brutal conquests. And Islam is very much unique in that regard.
This one from, do appreciate it. Coming in from Free Brain says, to the Muslims, how can you prove that Muhammad was receiving verses from the real Gabriel and from the real God?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
How can you prove that Muhammad was receiving verses from the real Gabriel and God?
Of course, it was revealed across 23 years, not in a cave, like many conspiracy theories claim. Over 23 years, this Quran was revealed through private revelations, which were then confirmed by science over 1,400 years, confirmed by previous religions, confirmed by rabbis, confirmed by priests, and Islam went from 4 people to 2.4 billion people today. That doesn't happen without truth. And the truth can only be revealed through the Holy Spirit.
It happens through conquest. Yeah.
No. It happens through truth. You don't conquer the world and get to 2 billion people from 4 people. That doesn't happen like that. You gotta have.
Wasn't also that argument for Ridvan because of the Crusaders?
This one from.
So the funny thing is, if that shows that it is truth, then we all have to agree that Christianity is true and Jesus is God. So.
No, I mean, Jesus is a prophet of God. Jesus is the true Messiah.
I'm sorry, Junior. This is literally your standard.
People need to respect Jesus, but Christians don't all believe that Jesus must be worshipped.
Now you're contradicting yourself. The vast majority of Christians believe that.
This one from Maddie says, Junior, was the Bondi Beach mass shooting justified?
Absolutely not. It was an IDF inside job.
The Martyr says, host, props for the
so
mass.
it was a Mossad inside job. Not
it was a Muslim terrorist who did it.
No, it was Mossad messaging this mentally ill kid, and they hired him under the guise of ISIS, right? And then they funded him and sent him the guns and motivated him to do this shooting. And then it was a Muslim who stopped him, a real Muslim who stopped him.
This is what Muslims always like to do. For every bad thing that they do or one of their own kind does, it's like, oh no, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was Israel.
It's against Islam.
Take some responsibility, man.
This one from Pable 73 says, religion, any religion, and anti-science will be the downfall of humanity. They're trying to stick their thumb in all of your guys' eyes.
Christianity says the earth. Christianity says the earth is flat. Christianity says
from 2006. Very cool.
Fedora.
You believe you believe the earth is flat. We believe the earth is round. That's the difference between Christianity and Islam. Christians believe the earth is flat, like Zerka, prostate. All the Christian.
I believe the earth is flat.
Absolutely, that's what your Bible tells you. So I hope you agree with it. The Quran tells us that the earth is round. So next question.
Right.
This one from the Martyr says, host.
You can't argue this, brother.
Go to the next one.
Let's move on.
Dude, stop interrupting James, man.
They say, host, props for the massive patience. All credit to the speakers. They're linked in the description box. And
thank you.
Free Brain says, to Muslim.
We're going to end soon because we'll do another one. We might do another one later for the last half an hour. And then we're going to get ready for my favorite Pakistani movie.
How can you prove that Muhammad... Susan Shellett says, Muslims, if your God is so powerful, how come your rock was smashed and stolen?
Because there's no deity applied to the rock.
This one from Ethan's Cough says, how old was Mary after marrying Joseph?
12.
False. So the only source that we actually have that gives an age to her marriage is a source that is the Proto-Evangelium.
What do you mean false, bro?
Which is
Jewish rabbis say Mary was 12, bro. What do you mean false?
Why? Who cares about Jewish rabbis? What are you talking about? So the only source that we have is the Proto-Evangelium of James, which says that that when they were looking for somebody to take care of Mary, who was supposed to be a devoted virgin to the Lord, she was at the age of 12. That's when they were looking, and eventually they found they found Joseph, and around 2 years later or something like that, the marriage took place, and they never had any sexual interactions. He was an old man.
I wear my sunglasses at night.
And she was a little virgin. That is what the source says. And later, much later after that, Jesus was born. The issue with this is that no Christian community accepts this source as authentic or as reliable. Even the Catholic Church would be the one that most highly regards this source, but even the Catholic Church says that we have no way to actually regard this source as trustworthy or reliable in the things that it says. So it is probably not trustworthy and probably not reliable, so we don't really know how old she was.
This one from, do appreciate it. OJ Nafta says, 6-year-old cannot give consent. I don't care who you are.
Look, bro, a 6-year-old can also not be previously engaged. She cannot serve in war, and she cannot memorize 200 hadiths. So I agree with you. But I'll tell you this.
I'll
tell you this. I'll tell you this right now. Mary gave birth to a kid, yet she's still considered a virgin. Aisha never gave birth to a kid, and she was always considered a virgin. Think about that one.
Why are you putting sunglasses on and copying me, man? What's wrong with you?
I'm competing with you, bro.
Junior has more aura, bro. Calm down.
Oh, it's aura farming.
Like Redvan, tone that ego down.
Now I have to take them off because of you.
This one from
Exactly, good boy.
Jake the Welder says Junior. This one from Jake the Welder says, Junior, was the IQ test you took one of those that are ads on social media?
It was a Timo IQ test.
It was a real IQ test done for every student in the school.
It was not a real IQ. It was an online IQ test. So you never took a supervised IQ test.
I did the IQ test in grade 12, by the way. So my IQ is probably way higher now.
Here's a challenge, since you care so much about it, Junior.
Let's do a live IQ test. Your IQ is probably 60,
there
bro.
is no such thing.
James, you're willing to set it up?
There is no such thing as a live IQ
James,
test. I challenge you to do one thing.
I swear, if you set up a live IQ test, I swear to God,
you keep
I will
talking
do
about IQ, which
he
is
will
why I
not do the
mocked you
IQ
about it.
test because his IQ is below 100. My IQ
All right.
is 149.
You talk about it so much, you care so much about it, which is why I mocked you about it earlier. Here's my challenge to you. Apply to Mensa and take an actual certified IQ test from Mensa and then publish the results with everybody. The actual certified document. Make it public, please.
Sure. I'll do the test this week.
Thank you.
This one from
Challenge accepted.
Pable says, this doesn't happen often. The chat is funnier than the debaters. Wow. Congrats, chat, on being funny.
Okay.
Yo, one in the chat. If you guys want a part 2 of this debate, because this debate wasn't complete today. We talked about who's more wrong, but we need to actually debate who the actual terrorist is. Is it Israel or Hamas? Because
Israel,
that's a great debate.
Yeah, because who is more wrong? Yes, both sides did wrong, and I hope today that we prove that, Israel does more wrong because they have more capability to do wrong. But I think we need to actually determine who is the real terrorist here.
I have to say this debate was more entertaining than Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So.
Exactly.
All right, we're at the 3-hour mark. Oh, it's time to duel. I love that. Oh my gosh, let him rip. All right, we'll probably do another one later today and just finish this off. But this was fun. See you all in the next one.